Welcome everyone to another edition of Let's Build Our Release ISOs here, and certainly not one of them, but all of them, or most of them. Starting with yesterday, I spent already a lot of time polishing this stuff because, as you see with all the videos, there's always something. Could maybe have live streamed it, but it was quite some hours actually getting some details right. One reason I rebuilt this ISO is now because I wanted to release them with a new version. I actually thought I edited this, but somehow I must have not have saved it or something. So I slightly wonder, do we have here more? I've actually not done this in a decade, so I hope that is the only place where the version was encoded. So let's see. Yesterday I test built it already, as you see here, most of them, and now unfortunately I will wipe them entirely. Mostly because of the version, all the others. So the strange issue that we didn't have some of the files archived, I also too long debugged this like an hour yesterday, and this turned out to be rename at as I expected, and this exactly was what I expected, that core utils had built-in direct system call support for this nonsense. It's not giving you any feature or performance whatsoever. And it turned out, due to an other upgrade of maybe myself or someone else on the mailing list of core utils, I unfortunately had a version of core utils installed which maybe even had not only this issue, that not all the files were tracked in the T2 file metadata tracking due to this stupid rename at, but additionally it was built this variant with prefix not /bin and sbin, because for historic reasons, I mentioned this yesterday, did we delete everything? Let's start building this already, and yeah, we will also build PowerPC. So for these historic reasons, we have some vital files that you would want on the root, not on the user partition, of copy, move, and so on. So due to this prefix not taking effect issue of one build glitch sort, I had two versions of core utils. I had many of the binaries in user bin, like rm and move and copy and stuff, and in /bin. And this is why I was wasting my time for 20 minutes wondering why the heck does this not work when it should work with our previous video in our file list tracking wrapper preload library. Why it doesn't work when it turned out after I had two versions and it was still the old version with this stupid built-in support. So yeah, I also did a couple of other things, so not only maybe 40 minutes wasted on this bullshit, but I did a lot of which, of course, so SVN up, I probably should get nothing. Yeah, I only SVN up so that we have a full log here. Also here with probably with amazing Unicode breaking space, because it's 22. And yeah, so fix that. All right, fix kmod. So a lot of small things, including even fix this new kmod for SPARC64 with 32-bit for similar to or PowerPC for performance reasons. Yeah, polished a little bit like the Hewlett-Packard precision architecture had from Rock Linux times, because I personally never touched HPPA risk until someone donated one to me last year. So it had experimental in all capitals. Yesterday I realized, wait a second, this looks first of all unnecessary and looks pretty ugly, so I removed this experimental there, updated, because a year ago, which by the way was it this probably, let's also here, let's write this, interesting. Okay, let's split that again. Let's optimize this a little bit before I continue giving you the summary. Because we also certainly want to build PowerPC 64. So most of the stuff, so with all the work live on last year and this year on YouTube here of making this totally great again, like greater than kind of sort of it ever was before, yeah, so Linux header, because Linux header, I updated this previously. People always ask, why is this Linux header package so old? Because it only defines the ABI, the application binary interface, meaning all the .h header files of IOCTLs of like read only, write only, all the add current working directory, all those kind of defines all the structs for time and dir and all of this application binary interface. And so you normally don't need to update this too often. And if the Linux kernel people break something, which they unfortunately really often do, fun fact, a decade ago they even broke joystick. You update this like a decade ago, you build everything and all the packages that need joystick stuff like struct, joystick, whatever human. So yeah, I'm not making this up. Recently, so I updated Linux header recently to maybe even 5. So because people bugging me, why is this 4. What was it, Linux header? Yeah, why is it 4.3 or previously it was even 3 point something? Because again, it defines a stable user space application binary interface. You don't really need to update this often. The last time I only updated it for RISC-V because certainly we want RISC-V here on FPGAs and other fun stuff. And of course it broke something, right? If the recurring theme here, do I make all this shit up? No, I don't. The last time I updated this to, could go there with subversion, it was 5 point whatever. So I updated this for RISC-V, it worked, like we could build RISC-V, but then only like usually you build something like RISC-V, hey, it works for the beginning, starting to begin to work. And then only a week later or something, or maybe even on the mailing list, like people on the mailing list, like stuff doesn't build anymore, like wait, what? And then only another week later, I, like here on YouTube or something, or P3 or SG-Octane, I rebuilt or will build. And yeah, of course, they broke all kinds of, probably this was like endianness or something of that sort. We can actually, fun fact, let's fact check that base Linux header, because we like fact checking here. So this was, yeah, reverted. So this was 4.20 for RISC-V support. Many regressions with always inline stuff in byte swapping. So yeah, 2020 or 2019 and Linux ABI stuff, like, yeah, why should this Linux header stuff work with always inline? It's hilarious. So yeah, this was 4.20, and the issue is because you probably noticed by now I use T2 for everything, including if I maybe build some Windows binary or RISC-V, even if it's not Linux. Of course, I use T2 for bootstrapping a compiler, because why should I waste my time with other less working stuff when I spent already half of my life of making sure this stuff works. And because I certainly want to bootstrap a compiler for our RISC-V business here, before we release the most amazing release of T2 in a decade, I wanted to update this a little bit. And that means I wanted to check if a header package a little bit less old. So yesterday I also spent another extra 30 minutes test trial and erroring which header. So I think RISC-V was added in maybe 4.15 or 4.14. And so yeah, we will see. I tested this a little bit yesterday. I hope it doesn't break again with always inline byte swapping stuff. You never know. But yesterday I already compiled quite some stuff. So most of the stuff yesterday I've done before this Linux header update. And then at the end of the day I said, yeah, let's maybe also check that a little bit. Just documenting here how you can spend your whole Saturday. What else have we done? RISC-V. Yeah, so this restores RISC-V support, because that is certainly nice to have in this day and age. With all the Intel CPU vulnerabilities and stuff. Partially reverted some. Yeah, right. So then I also figured, because GCC built randomly, this took like really long too. So I basically bisected this, like going back and forth with revisions to finally understand when GCC broke, and particularly everything of GCC worked except the std_cxx C++ template library. So this took really long. Like I was probably like sitting and head scratching on this for an hour, and it turned out it was our own W error removal. Previously for decades we already removed W error because we do not want the build to stop, because we usually on the forefront of compiler updates and stuff, and we do not want that the build stops for other people's random typos. So yeah, I've not invested after like spending an hour on this stuff. So I'm not kidding. Somehow removing all the W error stuff and W no error or something breaks std_c++ in the ABI symbol versioning. I have no idea why. It could either be that that the configure tests something and then uses something that's incompatible, or maybe there's even a bug in like memory bug theoretically in our pattern matching, you know, C programming, why it's amazing and why personally even I don't want. But this is not the most important. This was like, this W error removal was only some nice to have thing. So for now it's just W error again without the wildcard matching there. It's like, yeah, whatever. I probably added this for some package, so most likely some musel, or I don't even remember what. Something probably needed this. The next time I need this, I will just add this to one package instead of all of them. But GCC finally builds again. With all those fixes, everything builds, everything should build. And on the major architecture, I am not even, unless someone wants to donate an Alpha or Intanium or Super H board or something. I've not even tested. I'm not even sure if I built MIP64. Theoretically, we could. The issue is on the Octane. I have a relatively recent T2 installation. The issue is, the last time a year ago I built for the Octane, I intentionally downgraded the compiler because compiling as here on the P3, the Octane, my fastest Octane has dual processor 250 megahertz, so dual 250, and it's obviously way slower, like a magnitude slower than the one. Not nearly a magnitude slower than the P3, obviously. And you have seen the last stream there, 40 minutes of Amiga emulator fame. So because GCC becomes slower and slower and slower, I even intentionally, although it worked beautifully with our most amazing vanilla raw Linux distribution, it worked, but it was painfully slow, and I intentionally downdated the GCC compiler a couple of versions. So instead of 9, I used 8 or 7 or something. It was nearly 20% faster, I think. And 20% is, of course, like it's dog slow, or it's like, yeah, okay, you can somewhat sort of live with it. Which, yeah, anyway. So not really sure if I built MIP64 because actually, you know what we will do? I will probably not do it today, which also brings me to, I should actually fire up a couple of, what was the binding for, was it not that? Oh, right, this also. This, because for this Tmux, I mostly use, not that though. What would, darn, need to Google this. Anyway, this simple versioning is also, by the way, the other live stream you've seen that Firefox didn't start anymore, and this actually was because the glib, just the bug I spoke about, the libstdcxx not bootstrapping, and I temporarily disabled the simple versioning because the simple versioning was failing for me. And so yeah, actually that Firefox didn't start anymore is because this needed the libcxx simple versioning. So this is split, what is it even? So this is split in, how do they call it anyway? Let's just Google this. So yeah, this I used and split further vertically press, but I did this. Why did it not work? Now it works. Fun. Not sure what I did different. So the reason we do this here is that we have a better overview. We have still some minor things to do. So we are building x86 and PowerPC. So we have, or at least I hope we do. Let's ps ax grep target that. And let's zoom in there. And so PowerPC, do we have really many? Okay, whatever. We will see if this is wrong. So this will, so no, nose already itching. Welcome everyone. So this is also why, so not only AMD 3950X, why we have one in previous build video, but certainly one of those making good use out of that. Cross-compiling all the stuff. So this PowerPC, I think, actually, you know what, we can also control, oops, not set, but yeah, too many key bindings. Yeah, PowerPC 64. Let's build PowerPC. So this is 32-bit PowerPC for example, for our G4 cube. Slightly wonder which CPU am I using for that config. PowerPC config. I think I've chosen 603. Yeah, 603 just for in case, because when we build now is super perfect, like as amazing as it wasn't been for a decade here in T2 terms. Really months of bug fixing and improvements. I was thinking to maybe optimize it for G3, Motorola Freescale 740/50. But then I thought, yeah, if I build now a really nice ISO, maybe I should build it so that theoretically it boots on the IBM P series server, the previous video. So that's why it's probably performance-wise not really huge of a difference anyway. So target hello can be also, where is this? PowerPC, and because you can never have enough, you also want to build SPARC64, and you know what, let's build this in the background because not to use here too many. We also want to build at least Hewlett Packard PA, HPPA, because that is what we got here previously donated. So I could certainly split this further, which maybe actually I should have. Also not really what is the best. So yeah, but even with this massive splitting, it becomes a little bit much. So yeah, this will build. So everything should cross compile fine. I only expect like 3, 4. I expect 5 build issues. So one is what you can contribute playing along at home. You can help me fix Perl and Python cross compile, because once upon a time it cross built, but now it's broken again because always upstream changes. But I'm neither interested in Perl nor Python, and so YOLO. You can certainly install it on the PS3 and then native build it if you want Perl or Python. You can also play along at home and fix this for me. That would be super amazing. Then also Ninja and Meson, this will also not cross-build because new amazing stuff that doesn't cross-build. Also, yeah, YOLO, whatever, you can certainly natively compile this, so I will just ignore those. Then, so these are the major ones, and there will be one, so maybe we have, maybe some builds might stop with touching a file in /temp, which T2 doesn't like this anyway. Maybe we debug this, let's see if it, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. These are the major ones. Of course, there might be random stuff that I've not seen yesterday, but aside from this, this should be pretty amazing. Yeah, right. And then there is also on x86, on all the others, we will not have anything else except, wait, so on all architectures we will have x86 video SES, because yeah, whatever, that is also not released and nobody cares anymore. And then on x86 we will have VMware, which also, yeah, I could theoretically hide this error, so I could go into the package metadata and just edit it to be disabled by default right now, but I don't want, so theoretically it is a low-hanging fruit, so if you want some low-hanging fruit to fix at home, you can fix import, maybe it's fixed in the Git, so you could contribute a low-hanging fruit of taking these upstream changes and send in the patch for -SES and -VMware, but personally, yeah, YOLO, whatever. This hopefully all right. And on Hewlett Packard, you see months and weeks of work, and yesterday and still some small glitches, because now that I think about this, yesterday I also saw on Hewlett Packard HPPA risks, there was this bootloader that didn't cross-compile for the toolchain in stage 0 for, what was it? There was something, we will see, but I'm not even sure how I did this the last time, because we previously we created a bootable, previous video bootable HPPA risk stuff. We have some other small stuff, so this is not even all. Damn, I thought, hey, everything is nearly perfect. But yeah, now that I think about it, small little glitches. But we have a couple of to-dos left, so it's not like we will just sit here and do nothing. So we have also a couple of to-dos left. So I want at least to do a couple of things live, which is all right. So yeah, say you see. So we have some real bugs left. One is, as you've seen in the P3 video, P3 video, previous live stream, the grub2, also this is theoretically grub2. Our grub2 config stuff, the first time it runs, it doesn't create a grub config. That is certainly not helpful. We somehow also need to somewhere for the P3 folks to play along at home without any glitch, like with perfect support of everything just works as it should be. We need to add some code somewhere, not yet really sure how and where. Maybe I create a fake kboot package that only has this bootloader creation for now, something that's not really sure yet. But there you see, some of the stuff is not straightforward, right? If we don't have a kboot package, the petit boot is like distributed and installed, and it's often not straightforward. Often it's like, yeah, there are 100 ways to do it. I could YOLO it into grub2, which is of course not nice. Maybe a nicer thing is to create a skeleton fake package of just kboot configuration, maybe. Something was also on the P3, there was dialog not working. Maybe this is fixed now. I fixed also 2 days ago, GCC, some other cross-compilation glitches. Maybe it's fixed now, but on x86 it worked magically for some bizarre reason. On PowerPC on the P3, the dialogues were all the text titles were mangled and messed up. So whatever is wrong with it. Also, so all right. So this is only long-term to do. This is already long-term whatever, because this is already fixed in theory. But so actually those are real showstoppers without this. This kind of what I said the other day. 99% is working, and the most tiny 1% is something not perfect, and this is exactly the stuff where people get frustrated and they give up with a Linux like T2 because it didn't work. Certainly, if you install it and there's no grub config, then that is certainly the end. And similar to P3, we had people booting it and complaining on the YouTube comments of like, here, I installed it, it doesn't boot. Like, yeah, it's in the comments. You need to copy the kboot config somewhere. Yeah. So these are real showstoppers. This is like, yeah, it's quite a showstopper. It's certainly it should better be fixed, but if it takes longer than 10 minutes, then maybe let's see how that it's going. This is not really a showstopper. This is just a warning message, but maybe we tackle it first, because for this we need to wait for the ISO to be finished in an hour or so, because 39 AMD epic thread ripping AMD Ryzen here. So this hopefully not too much more than an hour of cross-compiling here, this 300 something packages for 6 architectures or something. So yeah, maybe let's do this first. For that I already know what that is. For that we can certainly run this QEMU here from the other day that we installed. So this is the ISO we test built 2 days ago and installed here live on YouTube, of course with QEMU. So what this even is about, this bug entry, is that that when we boot here, we get here this invalid argument. I changed this myself, so there you see, you try to make something better. The usual stuff you need to test, and more test, probably. After computer science is rocket science, what my new mantra here also, among other things. So yeah, you can't randomly try around and stuff, which leads to all the broken stuff, CPUs and security vulnerabilities. I hope the password was test, by the way. So the usual theme of you try to fix something or try to make something better, and then a week or months later you realize, wait a second, what is this invalid argument? So this is our run level control wrapper that only Rock Linux and T2 has, an invention of Clifford Wolf there. That is decoupling it's usually not a problem, but of course making it perfect, that's what we're here for. It's decoupling the processes from the init process and resetting all the signals, not to inherit any signal definition from the forking init control. Something that probably nearly no other distribution, maybe some BSD has it, or I don't know, but certainly we. And I only changed this, so the only time I ever changed this was 15 years ago for SPARC, because some SPARC real-time signal numbers were different or something. And since then I never touched it. I only changed it recently again for building with Musel. So there you see, a decade you don't touch it, no problems, and yeah, never touch a running system, because as soon as you touch it, you have some new regressions. Did I even check this out already? Probably no, we didn't. Also, by the way, maybe we want this T2 cleaning is also not really, it should probably not really be there. Probably something to check another day. Maybe I make already a note, otherwise we forget about this obviously. Alright, we also need some network. So yeah, maybe we probably have here like user source T2 clean question mark. Some should probably not be there in that style anyway. So yeah, let's get started here for this fun ride. Also, I lowered the bitrate for European or worldwide congestion of everyone sitting at home with this analog virus stuff going around. A recurring theme here, streaming was often buggy to start with, and fighting with Vodafone, cable, Germany stuff has yielded nothing. In the meantime, all the major streaming providers, YouTube, Netflix and Apple TV, have all agreed to lower the bitrate of SD, standard definition, instead of HD and 4K by default. So my understanding is, I often, when I go to YouTube, I often still got HD, so yeah, whatever. Although sometimes I now got 480p. It's not really helping much. So I lowered the bitrate when we started the stream. The first minutes we had 0 drop frames. I'm now down to 3.75 Mbit. So not even freaking 4 Mbit. And I said this before, I even mixed our business cable, because this business cable is so shitty for a year already. So even before this analog virus stuff, it wasn't amazing. And they promised us resegmentation that should improve, and they couldn't even give me a time frame. Similar internet provider bullshit as with Louis Rossmann in New York here. It's hilarious. So even businesses like ours, they can't tell like we're fixing it in 4 weeks or 4 months. They tell you, they told me a year ago, we cannot give you a time frame, but we have a help site. On the help site, on the knowledge base, it's listed the resegmentation can take everything between 6 and 12 months or 4 and 12 months with a maximum of 15. So this was 12 months ago. So we are soon approaching the maximum. So basically, long story short, the support is always just trying to calm down the customers, like, yeah, we're fixing it. Don't worry, we're fixing it. We will not tell you when. Eventually, maybe, hey, we have a knowledge base like year 6 to 12 months. And thank you very much. It's hilarious. So it's, yeah, anyway. So yeah, not even 3.7. We have 6, as much as I lowered the bitrate, and probably I should check here if the audio is fine. Signal losses for my German web is on fire today. Yeah, so lowered the bit stream like crazy, and the first minutes of this live stream had 0 drop frames with just 3.75 Mbit. But now, as long as we are already giving you the summary for freaking 30 minutes, talking here straight the summary of the last days and watching this build go by, 6.7. So even with 3.75 Mbit streaming on, and I wanted to say, so with all the 1 year of hiccups with the 1 year of really garbage internet that we pay you in full for, I already forgot what we have. The internet was so shitty. I sometimes said 400 Mbit, 32 Mbit upstream. All of this was wrong. You will not believe, just the other day when I looked up our contract. So this is business managers with 1 year of hoping that's the internet. I already forgot what we have. We have 500. We don't have 400. We pay for 500 Mbit down, and not 32, but 50 Mbit up is what our nominal contract stuff is. And we have not gotten this for 1 year. Downstream is usually pretty okay, but I don't need freaking downstream. I even told them I need upstream. The upstream is garbage for 1 year already, and now it is down to, yeah, can't even. We pay for 50 Mbit. I can't even live stream with 3.75. Yes, we have bigger problems in the world, but I also told them on Twitter, look, maybe you should have cared for your broken freaking infrastructure before a global crisis breaks out. Anyway, so that's for that. So this RC thing. So the issue is when we run here RC, what we want to fix is, for example, what can we? Let's maybe configure SSH just for the test of it, create a host pay, it's whatever. And just that we can start it without an error. And so RC SSH D probably start. So yeah, this is this RC invalid argument. And this is in T2, what have I even checked out here? Okay, move trunk to T2 trunk, and oops, T2 trunks. So this is in package, I think probably this base, this 5enet rc.c. And so that is there in there. So let's fix this in a second. Let's try to take another look on the comments. So yeah, welcome everyone, by the way. Yeah, Marco also has not amazing signal. Speaking of performance regressions, out of boredom installed 2007 era LFSSG C 4.1 and it screamed. Yeah, I made the live stream, not only 4.1, previous live stream a year ago, I installed a 20 freaking year old Rock Linux 1.2 or 1.4, something of that sort, and yeah, it's freaking fast. This is also, so not only will we in the long term continue our own amazing microkernel, hopefully amazing, but the problem with the microkernel is that it's a little bit of a dilemma of, so Rust, I'm not a fan of Rust, so if Rust would be amazing, I would maybe use Rust, but I'm not getting very much along with Rust. So I'm somewhat tempted to fall for this not invented here syndrome of writing my own language. And I said this before, maybe not necessarily for all of the microkernel. Maybe we will do the microkernel, the core, like the tiniest core of the microkernel. Maybe we will do it in like embedded C++, maybe, because just in Rust you anyway would have unsafe all over the place, and then maybe C++ is just more portable and stuff, and also doesn't require bootstrapping a compiler for 2 hours. But aside from this, we already started some totally tiny, just proof of concept, just-in-time compiler stuff, and with all the GCC and even LLVM, a decade ago LLVM Clang was even fast, but nowadays LLVM Clang is also getting as slow, or even my previous videos showed that LLVM Clang is often even slower than GCC. I'm somewhat tempted of inventing a new language, because yeah, there are 12 sucking standards, and certainly we need to invent the 13th sucking crappy standard. And yeah, so 12 not cool standards and not invented here syndrome. Maybe we do our own language. I said it before, we already use Lua, and maybe we will see if for our own, so with our own just-in-time compiler that we like, just the most minimal required keep it stupid simple stuff of most minimal just that stuff works. I would like to see how far we can get, and maybe the problem is making a whole C, like tiny C or portable C compiler stuff is quite some work. Also, C is a really ugly language, in my opinion, should not really be used. But otherwise, I would be slightly tempted to have a C front end for that, but that's certainly pretty painful. Also, the new Lua versions, in my opinion, also not the most amazing. We still use Lua 5.1 from also a decade ago, something of that sort, which many games also use Lua 5.1. But long story short, I'm slightly tempted to create a mix of Lua, like Lua 5, not the latest Lua, because the latest Lua has some changes that I don't find amazing. Like dual integer floating point stuff in there, whatever. It's all, some of this is probably also why the Lua JIT guy has not continued with it. Maybe speculation, but so I'm slightly tempted to create like dynamic language, like dynamically typed language like Lua with a little bit more low level, like C++ low level features. Maybe, but time will show. So now quite some people tune out for some reason. I'm not really sure, maybe the stream is just too broken, although we have some. But anyway, fun fact, you can support all this work, as you see, quite some work, not only fixing all of this, but also waiting for this to compile and testing it. You can just leave it all of the streams, because we certainly need more views and stuff. And you can just leave it running there in some corner in all your PCs, in some corner and virtual machines and stuff. The Grever asks, so also more questions, Aging Phenom. Good morning. Yeah, so good morning, welcome. P3 can't run Linux anymore. Thank you to Sony. Well, you can custom firmware, right? So it depends if you have a FAT or early revision Slim up to 2500 or so model number, you can custom firmware this. So like I did here on this after, well, our FAT I stored, I said it before, our FAT I stored in the basement to keep other OS. And the developer tool I got here, I certainly anyway custom firmware with restoring other OS. But yeah, the Griver asks, can you install T2 without a CD-ROM? Yes, of course. The new images with EFI support, you can just copy the files on a FAT formatted and on x86 EFI boot. The PS3, you can also just copy this on, yeah, even FAT for testing. Even where's even my need to check where I lost my USB stick now too. But yeah, certainly you can accept Power Macs. The old Power Macs don't boot from USB though. And the grep2 config can be fixed by just adding version to VM Linux. Alternatively, there is a script to patch. Yeah. Anyway, so let's while the stuff is scrolling in the background. Which, by the way, does it look cool if we set that? Is this even transparent? Only became dark. Is that not dark? It's not helping me. So yeah, I even know what I changed here. So going back to fixing this, here's somewhere some loop of somewhere. Here, and signals, so reset of signal handlers, and somewhere, so can't reset signal something, so this is somewhere here. And so yeah, invalid arguments, so can't reset signal 22 and 23. And for this, of course, it's usually the easiest just to look into the history. This would sys5 init and this would be RC. So you will see, so once I touched this years ago, so yeah, not that often touched and fixed. So yeah, maybe it's this has this regression, maybe so fixed. From usual anyway made. No, yeah, also there's a typo. Theoretically, maybe I log into the server and fix this typo in the subversion log where we are at it. So that would be set. I have here some subversion. Set log of T2. Revision is 47634 and made no sense after my SPARC touch up and revision something. So now this typo should be fixed. Made no sense. And always good to have stuff in. By the way, don't tell me where's my mouse? Right, mouse cursor grab. Sort of already my workstation crashed here because the other day it already hiccuped here for whatever reason. So one of those changes was this. So I do have my. Did I already grab it? Maybe. Probably I should have started this with input device, something tablet of not not grabbing this. Is grabbing is always a little bit inconvenient. So either this, so maybe we start RC GPM and yeah, invalid argument is exactly what you wanna fix. So in an earlier revision, the issue was that Musel didn't define. Alright, okay, so we have. I conditionalized this already. Why is it? Oh, okay, so this is apparently also needed. Anyway, so the issue is just this. And so if sig RT min, otherwise, what do we even have here? All right, so apparently Musel didn't find sig RT. So then the question is, okay, so this, the problem is, as you see, I changed this here. So the problem was with Musel, it didn't compile because only glibc had __ sig RT min. So the real-time signals. And something is wrong here. So probably as this is still scrolling by, it's time to review this more. As you see, because it's checking here if this start signal is, if it's less than or equal. So basically this is always true. I'm not even sure how I found this. So there you see some bug can be in, like always also in the Linux kernel and stuff, bugs can be in there for a decade. And then you they never cause an issue, a visible issue. And so yeah, I changed this to apparently if less than sig RT min or sig unused. But this is, so if def sig unused. So these are changes that we made. And this is causing, this logic stuff is now causing, so the signals in question are, let's maybe sig unused in user include, and also that something, also directory, what include are something. So these are in, no surprise, ASM signal, user include ASM signal. This is, by the way, potentially coming from exactly the Linux header package we talked earlier about for the application binary interface signal. And let's just switch over here. So this, yeah, Perl. Actually, so as you see, all of them will, yeah, so this failed with Palo as expected in Perl. And so let's zoom in here. So this affects all builds. So again, I will just, like, you are invited to fix this because I have other things to do. Perl, so PowerPC, all of this stuff. So this is var adm log 1. So okay, we're not even here yet. But perl.log, so we just touched the log, so the usual theme of YOLOing this. So Perl Python, Mason and Ninja, and theoretically XF something SES. So all of this, and yeah, maybe like this, and then theoretically we could also variable expand this here, but it's a little bit tab completion stuff inconvenient. So let's just do this manually a couple of times. x86, and you know what, we forgot to start one build, so we can also start one more build. x86, and we have SPARC. For SPARC, by the way, we only build minimal, not xorg, because as seen in the previous video, xorg server fails for SPARC with SPARC SBus driver with undefined symbol stuff. Yeah. What else do we have? We also have Hewlett Packard precision architecture. So, oops, build HPPA risk, and then let's build x86-64. And yeah, theoretically, we also want to fix this warnings eventually. But yeah. So I stopped this immediately because I wanted to touch this log files also for x86-64, all of this. So there we go. So then this would be that. Zoom out again, build that. And so yeah, I could create here more windows. Maybe this would look better, but whatever. So this is packets. Also, yeah, wait a second. Payload, we need to touch payload then for this to continue. Build probably would look maybe even slightly nicer with all the 6 builds running in individual windows here, but yeah, whatever. It's getting out of hand here. Touch payload, it's probably what you need 2 displays for, but then I can't live stream it and need this for the OBS view. But HPPA risk var ADM 10 pay, hello, var ADM, what's wrong here? Probably some non-breaking Unicode space there of not tab completion. Payload, we will see what, by the way, what was the issue of this, something trivial for sure. Payload error of, what did happen here? Hello, what is even the, no payload, what? Don't instantly, there, this is stupid. All right, I wanted to patch this. Let's patch this of job 0 payload. This is so stupid that it tries to build documentation, and for the documentation can't even make this, you know, I mean, this live streams I could continue forever, similar to Louis Rossmann is talking about his Mac repair stuff, like, yeah, open source repair stuff. I can't even make this up. So for generating the documentation or something, they, by the way, did I build in tempfs? Probably, maybe, I didn't. Thankfully, Excel, although it hurts performance, most of the builds, by the way, in tempfs, because we have 64 GB of that. But then I don't have those files, recurring theme here. So yeah, eval of make opt. And yeah, so it builds, and the only reason it make inst opt, the only reason it fails is, don't tell me it installed now. Yeah. The only reason it fails is because it's trying to run links or something for the documentation. It's hilarious, can't even make this stuff up. So yeah, links dump, so links not found, can't even make this stuff up. So seriously, so we could either probably I will just hard, because yeah, like you find this with Google, like I will not require building because so the issue is like requiring links just to dump the stupid readme or whatever. It's like YOLO without me here. I'm out of that. So fix out. So with all the stupidity on a recurring basis, I will not run out of content for this here. So links, readme, not making this like seriously. We run here second build, so we get only this imprint here on the terminal because of that. So install like not this HTML stuff because YOLO, and actually we could make it here like that, readme.html. Do we need to, or maybe take another look of VI links? Yeah, not for the faint of heart there with this stuff, but with all the maximum multitasking stuff, it's like, I've done this for decades, it's fine. Payload of makefile, let's double check that I've not forgotten. All right, so much double checking this. There is also, so that probably should work like that. So this would be fix file diff of no links. Doc to patch or something, whatever. This probably should fix that. Here, comments, you should have looked at Golang, what fit you need. No, not really. Golang is even worse. So basically, Golang is like the other day someone, the language honestly are not the most amazing. I really wonder what, they also add their so strange things like a remote web debug server, and the language are really strange priorities. I really, it's anyway. But we make a dedicated video about this, but probably Go is not a language that you can, well, you can always YOLO a lot, but probably this language not the most amazing for a kernel. So we have here SIG-RT-min and SIG-RT-max, so and signal, and so SIG-unused. So we have here SIG unused, success. Why is unused? So the issue is a little bit that, so these should not be considered constants from userland. So thank you very much then. Also, in my opinion, it would have been, so in my kernel, I will make it so that all the architectures use the same signal numbers. It's a little bit silly that on Linux, some architectures use a little bit different signal numbers for, yeah, YOLO, why? Maybe compatibility with SunOS and AIX and stuff, but probably maybe Linux would be in a more better shape. But basically, even, fun fact, back in the day, a decade ago, the Linux kernel had sometimes binary support. For example, on MIPS, it had support to run IRIX executables, believe it or not. So for that part, it might have made sense to have the same signal numbers as IRIX on MIPS Linux for easier binary compatibility. But fun fact, they removed it, right? So of not too bad of a feature, but yeah, of course it's removed because it's what they do in the Linux kernel world. So yeah, so the problem is a little bit like SIG. Why is SIG unused? So it's probably greater. So we probably want to check greater than this because this is SIG. It's like, why is this the same? Why is it's like, I don't know, strange stuff. So so we probably don't want. So NSIG. What is even NSIG here? In NSIG of. Okay, so this is SIG-RT max. Here is the same. Do we also have an NSIG without? Ah, here's NSIG. Oh, wait a second. Why is NSIG 32? This is funny. Here this is 32, and then here's an underscore NSIG that is SIG-RT max. What? Why is this? What? Why is this max thing? What is this? Where is this NSIG coming from? With underscore. Oh, wait a second. RT max. Where is it even? So where is this? This is so strange. So the first real-time signal is 32, but the maximum is NSIG, which we don't even have here right now. Let's maybe try to find that. So this is, funny enough, it's 64. So why is this NSIG 32 when there's another NSIG? So like this is normal signals, but the problem is this is also why there are always so many if-defs all over the place, because for this architecture that, for another architecture it's that, and this define is strange and doesn't fit the other one, and this is why we can't have a nice IT cake and eat it too. But so what have we? So SIG. So this is SIG unused, and so basically we don't want to do this for probably. If we have SIG unused, so if greater and for how many? Anyway, you know, fun fact, we only do this for NSIG anyway, which is 32. So probably this only was for which signal do we have here? We have can't reset signal I. So which signal was it even? Stop. So this is 32 and 33. Why do we... So if the problem is, so originally, what did we even had here originally? Originally we had here if, but originally this already didn't make sense because it was SIG-RT-min and SIG-RT-min. This basically, so if this is like 32, if less than 32, or this made no sense whatsoever. I mean, probably this should have been SIG-RT max. Probably this would at least somewhat make sense if that would have been SIG-RT max. But maybe we make this here. Wait a second, why is this even running for, if this NSIG should be 32 or not? It's by the way not my style. I will make, so in my style the problem is only I don't want to randomly change the stuff now. So my programming style is only because this is vintage code. I would not leave this excess white space here, but I usually avoid randomly changing this. So this was Claire Clifford's coding style from a decade ago, 2 decades ago. We can RC. This would be like SSHD something. Or does it not support it like this? No. Maybe so. It's still doing that. The problem is, as usual, we get so much stuff that this, by the way, in case you're wondering what all of this stuff, why is stuff slow, because all of the stuff is happening each time you run something. Why is it still running for 33 though? If this should continue off, or do we not have, oh wait a second, do we not have this defined? No. No, we have SIG unused. SIG unused. Looks like there is no type. We can double check that, of course, with gcc-e. Maybe this is. So super hard to read with this modern imprint here of that, but so actually this is funny. NSIG, why is N64 plus 1? So it's clearly some other header also in the way there. So we only have here I equals 19, 9 on 19. Okay, so this is the killer cross, this makes sense, but we don't have SIG unused, so we clearly get this from another header there on the way of like user includes signal age. What is that even? Can never have enough redefining headers for that. Let's see. Include signal. There is 1 and 6 there. Yeah, so actually maybe we get it from this header then. So actually we can also check that. We don't need to randomly, as we want to promote here professional work and not random trial and error. So we can of course signal, see that here in all those includes, where this is. It's a little bit much signed now. So signal age and then yeah, signum, so signum generic and signum. This is where we are getting that from. So maybe we are, but there you see when you were wondering, do I make this stuff up? No. And also how much stuff is a little bit out of sync here of all this fun stuff. So we, in this header, unfortunately, so we don't even have sig, so we have not, this is why this doesn't have an effect anymore, unfortunately. So here we have, but yeah, so, but this is hilarious. So there are no users. So it's really sig RT min. This is also why this bug was not visible in so long, because I'm not even really sure why this sig max, what do they have? Do not use these constants in application, would use sig RT min and sig RT max defined as signal har instead. Thank you very much. But I mean, this is also looks a little bit bogus to me. This is both 32 as you see, so sig RT min, 32 sig RT max is then also 32, like what the heck, why? And why shit is happening. But basically, so we shouldn't check on this other define because it's not there anyway. And just to be curious, what is here in sig RT? What a second, it was already on the screen. So this is actually lib serving. This is some dynamic stuff of return numbers of available real-time signals with highest and lowest priority of min and max. Some libc current sig RT min. Okay, fine, whatever. So what do we do with our code here? Come on, wrong file. Oh, so yeah, how amazing is this stuff? Otherwise, buildings in the background, all still running fine. Also open, so this RT. So basically, we don't want to do this for RT signals. So maybe we just like copy this. That we hopefully P and so maybe we make it so that only for if greater equal real-time signals sig RT min. So if greater that or max probably should be inclusive and continue, and then if otherwise, if this is greater unused as a separate conditional here, then also continue for some good old-fashioned system that has that defined. Maybe that probably hopefully should fix this once and for all. No, it does not apparently. Can't make this to be even. Stress f log. This was so sig action. All of those can't reset. So this is here. So sig system 32, 33. So we have here sig power and sig sys of. Why is this still happening? All Right, so we have real-time signals. Does this expand to... Where do we even have this? SIG handler, a little bit hard, really hard to read. Yeah, so this is current SIG RT min. And that's the only... But is that even... It's a function actually. Anyway, could cache that. But... so what's the question? So apparently, clearly this is not expanding to whatever that is returning. Could theoretically lock this though. What a crap here. I slightly wonder what is our, but our maximum signal is 64, so we cannot just use the other headers 64 because this is returning unsig of 64. Of course, for x86 we could use like SIG user 2 or something, but I can't be sure. That's of course not the... You know what, did we not earlier use __ SIG RT min? Maybe we just use __ SIG RT min and call it a day. This is really a little bit stupid. What did we even had here earlier as one div? I think it was __, right? Also means this earlier code was actually, but this was clearly buggy. I really wonder if this, maybe I broke this a decade ago for SPARC, because once upon a time, like decades ago, this was already not compiling for SPARC. I remember. So here, I bet I'm not kidding, in 2000, oh no, this was 2017. Oh, wait a second, we can just rc.c, obviously for less noise. SPARC again. So yeah, I fixed this even so. Other people already fixed this here, and then I fixed this there. So 1305. What? Why is this not returning something? So this was, oh, so this was previously even hard-coded in 2000, whenever that was, in 2005. So there you see vintage codes on 2005. This was changed from 64 to N6. It certainly looks better. And then, okay, so this is new. So in earlier, okay, so earlier we did this for all signals, all right. So in x86 it probably was never a problem even running this reset for 64, and so then this was SIG unused and SIG RT min. So probably as we see, the SIG unused is not even defined today anymore. And probably I did here something that was probably also the reason with some glibc updates there in 2005 or whatever. So yeah, I did this there of if greater than, so yeah, probably already there in that day and age, SIG unused wasn't defined anymore. So yeah, here we are, tinkering still around 15 years later of ever-changing header goodness. So probably, so if this, then that, you know, let's just do it. If that is defined, so let's just like hope this works for all combinations then of if def that, let's see, I hate mouse wheel support, mouse support in, come on, I wanted to copy it though. 6, so RT, it uses underscore thing that has a more sensible definition. So if greater SIG unused or greater equal sig RT min. Let's not reset this there, and let's hope this finally works. This finally works again. Let's double check this at VS Professional. It's always good to test and more tests. So theoretically, of course, in your more professional, high availability production code test cases, but yeah, there's no test cases for T2 and this sort of thing. So where do we have signal of this here? And here we have some where is it? Signal, come on, must be somewhere, sig in sig. Here's the R. So sig this, sig power, and closing our file descriptors, fun stuff. A little bit waste of performance though. Anyway, whatever. So how long do you think this fix will last? Will it age well? Will we be fixing this up in a month again because it breaks something else? Also there's some stray white space, and you probably know already how much we hate stray white spaces here. RC, so it would be ending with white space there. Sig RT min, if more than sig RT min, sig unused. Oh, wait a second. Alright, this is removed here. So, there, it's probably, hopefully. Fixed this 5 init RC, not. Try and fail to reset some real-time signal handlers. So that probably should be that. I hope we didn't randomly build this already. So I think it's probably, you know what, maybe we could actually debug another thing here, which is, actually this is slightly hard to debug, this running this grub after the installation. How would we debug this? So this would be rm this boot grub to, where do we have it here, grub config, and then stone grub2 or something. But you know, the strange thing is here on this first run it works. Why does it? This is really strange. Does it? What else would be? Stone mod grub2. That would be. Do we have some device map for legacy reasons, or theoretically we have here some maybe not. Anyway, so yeah, maybe we need to debug this in some other way when these builds are more finished. Speaking of, here something failed. Didn't fail yesterday. Let's hope this is only some apparently SPARC64. What did, oh wait a second, let's quickly SVN up here that we get this fix. We already, those 5 units that we built here, that they are already corrected. Where's the error? Ah, here's some created vanish, so this is ignored. Okay, here's some base, so here's some created, what is here? Where is even the error? Not really creating. This is strange. Will it randomly disappear on the second build or? Yeah, so you see the build, I can't give you temperature reading. I've intentionally booted some this old annoying Fedora binary only kernel for this stupid, for this binary only Epiphone previous video, not amazing stuff. Binary only capture dongle thing in case because we also need to test some ISOs. The x86 of course we can easily test in QEMU, but the P3, the PowerPC, we certainly should boot on the P3, and very theoretically, not only, well, theoretically and theoretically it means certainly we should test all of them, which means getting our USB thumb drive out here and insert it into the P3. It certainly makes no sense to publish something and then all the thousands of P3 fans here find it not booting. And very theoretically, we should even burn an optical media and try it on the SPARC station in Hewlett-Packard, not SPARC station, Ultra 5. What is here with encurses? This is so it has some var temp for some strange reason, which it said created vanished, but maybe it doesn't like that. So, but why does it only happen var temp? Probably that is the error though, but I have never had this of all the stray random issues. This is somewhat strange. Where is that now coming from? I'm somewhat, you know what, let's YOLO this for now. The problem is then we don't have a binary package of this, which we need, but maybe let's build everything else and this. Maybe I make a note actually of theoretically, so this RC we should have probably fixed. This we need to test. Yeah, kboot, probably, yeah, we probably make a copy of, maybe we copy the yarboot or Zilo package and use this generation. So yeah, long term theoretically, so random temp or even var temp files, whatever's going on there. I even did that wrong. So this is right now reproducible. Slightly wonder why it only happens for SPARC64 though. Really strange. It's not even. So how far are we into the builds? How much do we have to go? Also some builds don't have tempfs LEDs, which wasn't using, I think, HPPA HPPA. I probably want to maximize performance of use tempfs. Config all config. Do we have RISC-V we are right now not building, so all the others, temp fs equals, so RISC-V, okay, SPARC, oh, they're actually sung without temp fs, somewhat, this would be that. And then it was SPARC or, wait a second, power, let's grab this again, of RISC-V in building, but PowerPC actually this one. Just a little bit of performance tuning. Does readline have now the same issue? Why do some issues only show? No, this has not, cannot find in curses. Okay, maybe we didn't really install it then. Okay, we can also delay SPARC64. I'm already happy enough when all the other stuff builds. What is now SPARC? So this might be just because we edited while we were building it. Not much to see here. But I also wanted to check, so create error list for that. So how many do we have to go? 336, so why do we have so few of that? 248 to go, so 88 compiled fine. x86. Slightly wonder what processor I optimized for. 91, so yeah, 200. Also many packages, so initially LLVM, which we need for Mesa, take quite a while. So how long are we streaming already? With certainly way too many drop frames. Also need 1 hour 25. At least we fixed one thing here, and two things actually. Payload also. But we are also building quite some stuff, so that would be slightly wonder, do we really have so little of that? What is? Did we somehow not start this build or what? The issue is, can't even see so easily which builds we are doing now, because build target respawns a couple of times also right now. So x86 PowerPC, do we build the other stuff or not? It is slightly, oops, what? Are this really all? Because if these are all, then we are building some of them. Maybe I should actually have used individual. So here we build those. Here we build that. Here we failed in curses. Do we? What is with HPPA risk? Maybe we actually. Why is this starting from 0 deer tree? What have we done with that? Maybe, darn, you know what? Maybe some didn't. Yeah, what a fail. Some did not regenerate the version apparently. That is why some restarted now. What a waste of CPU cycles. Yeah, also the x86 though. Yeah, this is when your scripts are not perfect. Darn, what a fail. That is a little bit. Because the stuff, config scripts didn't realize that the version rebuild. No, it's shit. Okay, then this takes a couple of more minutes, more than I wanted. So 9, we are still PowerPC. Let's regen the PowerPC config. A little bit of always some. I think you're finally done and everything, and then anyway, it's a pain of release building with changed version. Now we are finally back to doing that. Do we build here something? Probably not. Yeah. Okay, fine. Then this takes a couple of while longer. Probably then we can end the live stream here and tune back in another. Or did I actually? Wait a second. What do we have here? No new comment yet. So maybe theoretically, yeah, we could just the other more live channel that you may or may not have subscribed yet. Could also theoretically go for lunch and then come back. No, actually only 12:16. Oh, why is this failing now? What have we done here? Maybe I just leave it streaming on the other live channel. Actually, so what I also wanted to do, create a list of stuff people can help with. So do we have here some to do or something? Actually not looked here in quite a while. Earlier we had some tracker, but even a decade ago in 2005, some other people externally have run track, but it was so spammed and hacked even in 2005 of our unsuccessful Woman distribution. It was disgusting. Some pages here are really old. Probably I could also, yeah, there you see even website. I could. The CIA is gone. IRC, I was actually keeping hanging out on IRC, but not too many other people. No more people are in Discord. Actually, really fun fact. Can post a note to this. More people are hanging in Discord than on IRC. And let's see, there was some comment of so yeah, but even here, so here actually web stuff I could actually also this 8.0 is decades ago, yeah. But do we have here a list of, did we had somewhere, oops, issue tracking here, so this track is bugs is long gone. Actually we had here summer of code from also, hey, for LLVM, nobody did summer of code. So yeah, fun fact, Google never accepted us to summer of code. We applied 2-3 times, 2006, 7, 8, also really unfair in my opinion. Back in the day, T2 was not that small, although Debian people kept calling it unsuccessful Woman distribution. We had, of course, hundreds of people contributing on Rock Linux from 1998 till today. So yeah, this I've done myself, thank you very much. Yeah, some stuff is still theoretically, as you see. You know, maybe I repurpose this of, yeah, Google Summer of Code. I could theoretically repurpose this page and certainly delete this and add here. So what you can do, yeah, theoretically we could do this live here, but yeah. You could update just some packages like GNOME KDE, or if you have some favorite packages that are not yet packaged, like terminal emulators, fun stuff. Yes, the issue is with running a bug tracker with also security vulnerabilities. This track that other people externally run decades ago, there was even Chinese like buy bulk LEDs from China for a cent each, and RGB LEDs and resistors. Like seriously, how do people like? How did Chinese supply chain even think it's a good idea to spam other open source forums with this cheap garbage electric component stuff? It's hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, slightly a bummer that we wasted some CPU cycles with building the wrong version. Yeah, should have looked. Anyway, so probably time to get some stuff here on the table. As you see, even testing this is quite some effort. Like starting not even getting all the stuff here, which is nicely stacked. There also, fun fact, probably for the future, I should probably stack it there in the background of amazing decoration. So yeah, getting the G4 cube, the Ultra SPARC is there. So SPARC from there, G4 cube from there, G5 from there, and P3 is already there. Hewlett Packard, either this. But the problem is, even if I test everything today, I'm busy the whole day testing, just also burning the optical ISOs there and, on rewritables. And sometimes even erasing. Sometimes I have the issue, some of my optical disks here are a little bit vintage. And then sometimes the erasing fails, or usually I use rewritables. Even then, sometimes it fails. Anyway, maybe I just leave it running. So to keep this somewhat sorted, it's probably fixed some issue here for today. If you want to see more, maybe we just go live on the other more live channel. To give you a summary, live streaming here with 3.75 Mbit accumulated in 1 hour 34 minutes. Actually, or maybe we're only 1 hour 30 live. 8,500 frames, no kidding, in this analog virus DOCSIS cable times of 500/50 Mbit. Not amazing business DOCSIS cable stuff. So yeah, 8,500 drop frames, 5%, whopping 5% in 1 hour 30 with only 3.75 Mbit only. That's it for this live stream. Probably we also need to do more security vulnerabilities. My list of accumulated stuff already long from the last days, so more live channel. And yeah, if you want to just hang out and watch this, more live stuff on the other channel, because that's where we do more live stuff. Hope you learned something also with signal headers and Linux header stuff. It looks, by the way, so of all the stuff we built so far, it probably looks like so far this Linux header didn't cause regressions like the other 4.20 did with 4.15. There you see each stuff. Also, by the way, fun fact yesterday was, of course, we have all our weekly or stuff. Linux kernel updates the other day. Let's check if we have another. No, but for those playing along at home, there's 5.5.11 from yesterday. Of course, the usual with some out of bounds stuff of find busiest group of slap out of bounds and revert, probably of null pointer dereference, null pointer dereference in range internal, and fix in net, because rmnet should of course not null pointer dereference and fun stuff. So yeah, kernel update probably as usual, as it's not a microkernel with fine grained updates. So yeah, as usual, leave me in the comments below what you think, what you want to see. More live on the other channel. And yeah, so the problem is also, I could theoretically live stream the testing. The only problem is it's a lot of back and forth, or maybe I could theoretically stack this, like, so we could use this. So SPARC, actually, okay, even the G5 is not so stackable. It's like even making this look nice with the G5, we can stack the Ultra 5, like the G4 cube on the Ultra 5. The Ultra 5 theoretically on a PA risk. If we take the small one, the visualize the C2 300 something, and not the 3000 something, but yeah. And the Octane, yeah, we could theoretically stack the Octane on the Ultra 5, although we might bend the metal, and the G4 cube on the Octane, but yeah, anyway, just brainstorming a little bit. So yeah, new release is coming. By the way, fun fact, we will call it the 20th anniversary release, because nearly, well, it's actually over 20th anniversary, because Rock Linux started around 1998-ish or 1996. So it's actually more than 20 years, but we didn't have but yeah, just for the sake of it, calling it the somewhat nearly most best T2 release ever. So basically from architecture support and boot support, it is the best, like the greatest T2 release ever. The only way it is not is that, so we support more architectures and stuff, and more boot stuff on HPPA risk and so on. The only thing is, back in the day, like a decade ago or 15 years ago in 2005, when we had the T2 release, I usually was working a week, not joking. You see how much time all this takes. So 15 years ago, for each release, I was working a week non-stop, day and night, basically nearly, and trying to fix as many packages as possible. So 15 years ago, all of KDE build and most of GNOME build. So with the 1000, so we probably had like 1500, 1700 packages. And usually with 1 week also, yeah, how much time and dedication did I put into this? With one work of day and night work, 1 week of day and night work, I usually got the 1500, 1700 packages down to maybe 20 to 30 build errors. It was just some random DVD rip and some CD label printing garbage with or whatever, YOLO. And then I called it a day. Nowadays, I'm not even caring about the KDE and GNOME stuff anymore, because nowadays it's so many hundreds of packages that all fail, and maybe some fail with systemd, which we don't have, and some. So yeah, I made this. You've seen previous videos if you're into this. And by the way, if you're bored and just want to watch some of the stuff, go to the old videos. You can still learn something, see the development, and help this channel with views and shares and likes and subscribes. 2 previous monster marathon live streams of 6-7 hours updating KDE, because I didn't touch KDE and GNOME for a decade. So we had GNOME 2 and KDE 3. So we packaged all the KDE Plasma stuff in 4, 5, 6 hours, and most of the GNOME stuff. But I've not even, with this enormous amount of time, I've not even packaged all of this KDE and GNOME stuff, and certainly not all of this is building. So you're invited to play along at home and send in KDE and GNOME updates and all other whatever you fancy. You want some emulator for your P3, package that. You want some other fancy CD label printer or mini disk label printer or whatever. Package. You've also OpenOffice. Not previously, it was building amazingly, and of course, a decade of bitrot. It's like, yeah, anything you fancy, send in patches. As you see, the minimal Xorg builds mostly, except of SPARC64, because upstream regressions. But yeah, nowadays, so the most amazing release, except not fixing this in the meantime, nearly 3000. We can also fact check that. Let's, for one quick note, do here a package all of desk and word count L. Yeah, 3800. So in the meantime, nearly 2000 packages more, maybe. Also, yeah, 15 years ago there was not modular Xorg. So now modular Xorg, a little bit of other, also LVM Clang and whatnot, and many more KDE and GNOME packages and whatnot, all the embedded and serial programming and previously packaged scope view and so on. So yeah, not only do we have 2000 packages more, many of the KDE and GNOME stuff, so YOLO. So in some ways the greatest and most amazing release ever, in some ways of, yeah, not the KDE GNOME stuff, but yeah, because upstream, you name it. Anyway, that's it for today for this live stream. More live stream coming there. If you want to have some wish of some specific, you want to see all the testing live and whatnot, leave it in the comments below. Last but not least, the one thing, so maybe not today, MIPS64, as I outlined in the very beginning 1 hour ago. I have an amazing release on the Octane right now that we published there earlier on the previous YouTube videos. But so if I make a new Octane release now, it will only be slower because I said it, I downdated the compiler. However, we will make a new Octane release soon, maybe in a month, maybe in 2 months, because I also wanted to make this perfect. Right now, the last release was a disk dump because so many people requested it. But I also want to have a bootable ISO, so in another month or 2, we also need to fiddle in all the... There are very few, like there was one other one-man unsuccessful source distribution proof of concept ISO. I think there are nearly no bootable Linux ISOs, maybe one or so. And so yeah, I want to make this amazing, integrate that. This will be a little bit trial and error and research, because the MIPS ARCs firmware needs a very specific, it needs a volume header, so it needs an SGI IRIX volume header on the CD. I still need to research if we can do this. The only other proof of concept has this, so it's the other, as far as I've seen and know, the other proof of concept MIPS ARC ISO has is like a partition hard disk dump kind of style. I want without ISO 9660 or 9660. I wanted to try if it's possible to have a volume header in the beginning in the system area of the ISO and have a regular ISO file system like we have for all the other architectures. Not sure if this works, not sure if the ARCs firmware will like it, not sure if we can generate it like this, but that's the goal. I hope that's possible. But even this alone, the SGI Octane's bootable ISO stuff will easily take a whole weekend, so don't forget to share, like, and subscribe for that. And yeah, maybe, let's see, could probably, yeah, maybe it's best I go for lunch now, home certainly, because lockdown. So just between home and office, and come back in some 40 minutes, and then hopefully finish this ISOs and test this on P3 and G5. And yeah, they also see how much testing and stuff, besides we still need to fix some small issues, but testing, not only testing it in one PowerPC, but PowerPC 64 P3 and the G5, so one ISO, 2 tests, and plus a PowerPC 32-bit built for the G4 and other machines. So anyway, hope to see you soon for all this fun stuff, and hope you learned something, and hope you enjoy this, and as always, stay healthy, and hope to see you soon. 8,600 drop frames, 4.6%.